Folks, any moment now, this big white garage door is going to open, and we are going to see Ferrari collector David Lee's stable, filled with some of the craziest cars, and we're excited to have a look around. Here we go, folks. I don't even know where to start. We can start on the red side, the yellow side, the green side. Wow. Very, very organized garage, as you can see. Red side, yellow side. But Michael Schumacher's F1 car, if I'm looking at it correctly, it is red. And that is the red side. It's okay, we'll excuse it this time. We'll excuse it this time. There might be a good reason why it is on this side. We're not judging. Some of the older stuff towards the back, I'm definitely gonna have to ask David about because I don't know what they are at all. Oh my God, just grab this. We'll talk more about this, but just look at the paint on that fender. It's 3 different colors. Whoa, 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 come here. Look at the paddle shifter. Look at the paddle shifter. The paint matched paddle shifter. This is crazy. Just a little teaser for you guys, but now let's meet with the man himself. Hey, David.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? Nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Sure, pleasure. Thanks for coming out.
Absolutely.
Oh,
this is Jack.
How you do?
Pleasure.
Pleasure. So you're coming from where?
New York.
Oh, New York. Wow.
Across the pond.
Oh my gosh. So you came for kind of to do some stuff in the West Coast?
Yeah, just came for the weekend. We Rodeo Drive is like a big spot for us, and there's just a ton of dealerships around here. Just like nice. Yeah, starting off with the first in America 812 Competizione Aperta. The spec is just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I don't know the paint color, I don't know the seat color, but if you could tell us a little bit about it, it would be awesome.
You know, this is a first time in Ferrari's history, as I know, that they put a color-changing paint, right? Because you can see in the sunlight, it goes from bronze to green, and the color is called Verde Volterra, which is a place in Tuscany. And when you look at the Tuscany landscape, you're going to see, some areas more brown, some more areas are more green.
Oh, so it's to the geography of the
kind of the geography is how they named it. So that's kind of cool. Now this color is not that I like it, so I'll spec it. It's under a cavalcade spec, so you have to have been on the Ferrari cavalcade, which is an invite-only kind of rally that Ferrari puts there. And if you're invited, then you can have a choice to pick this paint and this spec along with even the interior spec.
Is that what this plaque indicates back here?
So that plaque is showing the first time I went to Cavalcade, which is 2016 to Venice. So I'm a Cavalcade member, and so this is a Cavalcade spec. But even these seats is a special kind of Alcantara. It's a Teflon kind of material, almost like a gun handle material in the inside.
Right.
All these different special that you cannot get if you're not part of the cavalcade, so you cannot get that. There's a lot of other cool competition Aperta out there, but not like this. Because
this is it's the definition of tailor-made. It's definitely, and the paddle shifters, you see a ton of carbon fiber paddle shifters, but to have a paint-matched paddle shifter, it's the first I've ever seen.
Yeah, they definitely did a special on that, and but the door, the numbers is painted, right? They paint the U.S. flag and Italian flag because I represent the United States.
Absolutely.
Going to the Cavalcade, which is the top 100 clients in the world. So they're coming from all over the place, from China, from Saudi, from everywhere. So the flag's all different.
I want to ask, because I always was curious about this, especially with even something like a painted badge.
Yeah.
God forbid the fender got hit and the part needed to be repainted. Are you sending the door out to Ferrari, or is...
Yeah, honestly, it's almost like they did this, but they haven't... Nobody knows what happens if
right. It's always just like a what if.
If it happens, I'm sure. in this case, we're gonna have to send it to Ferrari so that they can, match the paint and do that. That's definitely their. It's their department.
We'll keep that thought out of our heads for now.
You just can't get to a paint shop and get this done. Yeah.
And then right behind us, we'll move over to what is you refer to as the Monza 3.6.
Evo, yeah.
3.6 Evo.
Yes, correct.
If you could tell us a little bit about this, because I know there's a lot of money invested into this project.
Yeah. This was, I love the classic cars. You're here, you see all the classics I have.
Absolutely.
My whole deal is I have currently from 1964 to the present, all the iconic models from that time to now. But this one, is a 1963 Dino. And, the thing about it, was, if you understand at the time, Enzo wanted to make more cars to support the racing and so forth.
Sure.
So they needed the V12 cars they only made like a few hundred, and it was just not enough capacity.
They were too limited for somebody who just wanted to get into a Ferrari.
Yeah, so you figure, okay, why don't we make a more mass production car, which the Dino was, and because it was a V6 160 horsepower, it wasn't a V12. They didn't want to name it even a Ferrari. He named it his son's name, Dino. But it was all made in Ferrari factory. The Pininfarina did the design, and all the OEM, all the things were Ferrari made. So we as Ferrari enthusiasts, we know that Dino is a Ferrari car, right?
Right.
So, that's, and it's gone through a big cult following. A lot of people love it because it was almost like entry price point of what they can get into a Ferrari.
Sure.
And I have to say, at one point, these cars were like 30,000. So a lot of people can afford it, right?
It's obtainable for the average person who wants to.
Yeah, for the average, they have a Ferrari and everything. And obviously, in recent years, it's gone up to like 400,000 or 500,000.
Right.
So these things have gone up.
Now it's not obtainable. It's a little, especially when as much money was put into it now. How much is invested into this car?
Okay, so then let me tell you what I did.
Of course, please.
So first of all, the idea of what I did was, because everybody loved the car, but they say, why didn't Ferrari make it more powerful? Couldn't have been more powerful?
Because it's the V6 platform, right?
V6.
Yeah.
How do we make it as powerful as it looks? It looks like it goes,
it looks like a strong car.
Yeah. So, I took the challenge because so many people complain. It's been a 50-year complaint. I took the challenge and said, what Ferrari could have done?
Mm-hmm.
What could have done?
Sure.
Maybe within that decade, the second version of this, what engine could they have put? How could it modify it to be? So that with that in mind, you have to use all the Ferrari parts. You have to use all their OEM parts.
Sure.
What they would have in the factory use. They wouldn't just go use a Japanese part or American part or a German part.
Right.
They wouldn't,
all
right?
OEM.
It has to be OEM. So I went on that journey. It was an 18-month journey. Wow. I did it out of with these engineering house out of in the UK. And after 18 months and more than $1 million I spent on, I didn't even know how much it was going to be, until you see through it. And that's why nobody would do something like this.
It has more in parts than the car is worth.
Yeah. After 18 months, it went crazy. It was in cover all the magazines because finally, I guess, a Ferrari client created something that Ferrari should have made. Now I have a V8 Ferrari engine in the back, velocity stack, fuel injected, producing 400 horsepower. Again, it was a V6 and 160 horsepower.
And now it's a small car. It's a very small car.
It's still a small car.
The power-to-weight ratio is...
But we're able to put the engine sideways, fit it in that compartment.
Wow.
And be able to do that. You have a fast, powerful car. You need to have stopping power, right? So we upgrade to the Brembo brakes, had to recast the wheels to 17-inch Brembo brakes so you can stop. You can have stop, you have a powerful engine, you want to take it on the mountains and the curvy roads, you have to have good suspension. So you put Koni suspension in there, right?
Wow.
And so now, just like a remodel, you can't just stop. You go in the transmission, you go to the radiator, you go to the Motec computers, all these little things, and you go through the car to see what you could do, what Ferrari could have made within that decade. And now you came up with this. I came up with this Monza 3.6 Evo, this second version of a Dino that would have been a crowd pleaser.
Right.
The crowd would have been proud of this or loved this because I know I do. It's so fast and so powerful.
Oh, I can imagine.
And so tight to get through. Whatever. It's the funnest car to drive, classic car I have.
You really re-engineered it completely. I mean,
really did.
Ferrari should almost make another Dino or a fresh Dino and use this exact same platform.
Yeah. Well, yeah. A lot of people say very much that the new 296 is like the new version. Finally, the new version of the Dino. And I can understand it because I have the coupe and the Spider. But
you just took delivery of the...
Yeah, I took a delivery of the Spider and I have the coupe as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
This is the most expensive car in your collection.
Sure.
But I do say race car because you are racing the most expensive car in your collection.
Yes,
so this is definitely worth chatting about.
Yeah, okay. So this is my 1964 250 Lusso competition. Now, the Lusso, didn't really come out with a race car. It was just a production road car. But a number of people brought the car back to set it up, for racing. So they set up the engine. If you look at the engine here, it's not like this. It's you know, there's 50 horsepower more than normal. So this is the same engine as the 250 short wheelbase, the setup, the 250 GTO. So there's the same power in the setup and everything.
Right.
So, but now it's on the in the Lusso. Again, the suspension is competition. The exhaust is competition. The radiator is competition. There's roll bars, racing seats, competition wheels. So everything to make it as light as possible.
And a very big steering wheel. They could have maybe gotten a little smaller with the steering wheel.
Yeah, could have. And actually, I do have a smaller wood steering wheel that's going to go in there to replace that, because it needs to get done. But the thing is, I do race this car on the track, and it's amazing. It's so fun. It's so much more powerful than the regular Lusso, which I had before.
Right.
And,
you have both, so you can really compare and see which one is.
So this is a really fun car, but expensive car to obviously to race. But you know,
absolutely.
For me, it's about the experience. So
that's right. That's right.
And again, I like this car so much that I was able to get Ferrari to spec out my F12 TDF to be the mirror image of this car. It was a special spec.
And it's named after you, correct?
Yes, it's named after me too. So
awesome.
it says, has a plaque that said it was a reimagination or a tribute to this David Lee's 250 Lusso.
That is super neat.
So that's kind of cool. That's like a historic.
Very
it's
cool.
in the history.
They both will never be sold, and if they were ever sold, they would absolutely come as a pair.
Yes, of course.
My favorite.
The LaFerrari.
My favorite car. Not even the LaFerrari. If we could do a little bit.
Okay.
On the 288 GTO.
Oh, wow.
I think it's my favorite of the big five.
You know what? I'm surprised you said that, because somebody in your age, usually they like the Enzo or or maybe even the F50. And then like it's a little bit older than you, they really love the F40. Very seldom more seldom, unless maybe people my age, they love the 288.
I love it.
Which is the first of the supercar, which is, for me, the sentimental value is that in high school, because in high school, this is when it launched. This was 1985. It was launched as the first supercar. And I remember at that time, I would open up the Road and Track book magazine. That's where you would see all the new things. Every month we wait for it. And it was debuting this car, and I loved it back then. The lines and everything about it, I loved it. And so, and obviously I didn't think it was attainable at that time. And
now look where we are.
So the thing is, to be able to own it is a sentimental value. It's
absolutely.
Extra sentimental.
And that's
but I love it. I love
part.
it. It's an early V8 twin turbo. I had the 288 GTO evolution of this car too, where there was 5 prototypes. But this is amazing car.
It might just be me, but something about it gives off like a muscle car feel.
Yeah.
Like it still has that like Italian heritage, but it has these like the wide body lines and all the vents through the hood.
Yeah.
This is just a really special.
Well, so a lot of people like my collection because you can see the evolution, right?
Of course.
And let's say if you were to say this 1971 Daytona Spider, which is very famous in the 70s. Because Ferrari didn't have a lot of great cars in the 70s, but that was one that was famous, as well as the Dino.
Sure.
But you can see from there to here the big change.
Massive change.
Whereas from the 60s to the mid 60s to 70s, the evolution was not so great. But from there to here is
it's funny how almost plain the Daytona looks, and then you see a car like this, the evolution of it with
so aggressive,
all these body lines. It's insane.
And maybe it's because they knew the 70s wasn't so strong, and probably the sales wasn't as strong.
They needed a big comeback.
They needed a big comeback.
Sure.
They needed to come back with something, different, radical. And so maybe then they came with this. So of course, there was a 308 and 328, but then when this came out, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. Something about this has just always been my favorite. But
it's crazy.
Let's talk LaFerrari Aperta.
Okay.
And if you could give the story on your coupe, because that's a very, very interesting story. I heard a little bit about it, but I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, a little bit controversial even at the time. I guess, gosh, when was it? I would say around 2015, 16. At that time, because to get this, you have to be beyond the top customer of Ferrari.
Of course, right.
Yeah, because it's I remember they made 499 of the LaFerrari coupes, and you would have to be in place already positioned as the top customer.
Sure.
Like I am today, but at that time I wasn't. That time I started buying cars and had a lot of cars, but you know, you had to buy enough new cars. You had to kind of know the people in factory. You had to know
Sure.
Ferrari North America.
You had
There was
to
a
be
lot of
affiliated.
stuff. It's not just buying
Right,
cars
right.
and suddenly, oh, you have money, I can buy
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So I wasn't there yet. But they started to know me, and they said, well, there was a situation where I guess at the time Robert Herjavec was getting a divorce and everything,
Right.
and he had to sell his car. He just had gotten his LaFerrari coupe, and brand new, you know, in Canada, but he had to sell it. So
And he was heartbroken to sell it.
he
right?
was heartbroken.
Yeah. It wasn't
to sell,
something
but
he wanted to do.
He wanted to have
Sure.
to sell it.
Yeah.
But and in this case, because when you buy those cars, they make you sign an 18-month non-compete. Like you can't sell it.
Right. Or you'll just be completely off of
Oh
their
yeah.
list for future cars.
Yeah. So people, he signed it. So I told Ferrari, look, he needs to sell the car. I want to buy the car. You can't
Sure.
sell me new. Why don't you allow for that to happen? And so as I understand, it's the first time that Ferrari North America allowed for the transfer of a new car that was sold to Robert Herjavec to me,
Wow.
and then I had decided 18 months after that, because now I'm an owner, but they condoned the transfer.
Because
of
it
the
was
car.
before the 18 months. That's the problem they had
Before
with
the
it,
18
right?
months, yeah,
Okay.
because it was brand new at that time. He was
Right.
one of the first to get it, right?
Sure.
So then I had that car, right? I had that car for, I forgot how many years, 7 years, whatever. And I enjoyed it. I drove a lot of miles on it. I really enjoyed it. It was super cool.
You drive all of your cars.
I drive all my cars,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then he, you know, he contacted me and goes, "Hey, David, I'm remarried again, you know, with my Dancing with the Star, you know,
Sure.
partner. Things are good, you know, and
I need my Ferrari back."
Yeah, and I sold my car. He goes, "I just want to have something back what I lost."
Of
you know?
course, absolutely.
And he knows I keep the car because some people you sell it, they're by the time you're ready, the car's I don't know
It's
where,
gone,
right?
yeah, it's
he knows I keep the
disappeared.
cars.
Yep.
And I just felt a soft spot for him because
course.
I felt like if I had ever had that situation where I sold it, and so I've done that before. I've sold a couple cars
And you
I
want
missed
them
it.
back.
I called the owner, "Can you sell it back?" And
Yeah.
I think it's just a courtesy in the collector's world, like a courtesy
Right.
that you do. You just, you know,
Absolutely,
yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then it's like, okay, and obviously if I can buy back, I could have bought another one, I could have bought another LaFerrari. There's no sentimental value. I just buy it.
Sure.
For him, it was because it was his car.
Right.
So I sold it back to him. He was so happy. I didn't have to do it. I did it, and then, you know, I always believe in good karma. You know, you do something
course.
good for somebody, and then I was able to offer to buy a LaFerrari Aperta.
That was your good karma.
Yeah, and so I bought it, and now I have a LaFerrari Aperta, you know, instead in place of that coupe.
Very, very cool. Now I want to ask, because your first weekend car was a 993 Turbo,
Yeah.
if that's correct. Your first supercar was a Lamborghini Diablo VT.
Yes.
You've had CGTs, 918 Spiders.
Yeah.
You still collect some other brands.
Yeah.
But why are you Ferrari collector David Lee?
You know, when I started collecting maybe 12, 13 years ago, which is not a long time. Some people collect like 30 years and stuff.
Right,
like that.
decades, yeah.
You know, I mean, collecting, because having a car I've had for 30 years, you know, a
Right.
weekend Ferrari or something, but really collecting about 12, 13 years. And at that time, I felt like I do things with a strategy. I don't just kind of do it and then like whatever.
It's
right?
a part of your business. You enjoy it personally,
I'm just built that way. You know?
it always has to make sense in a certain
It always has to
fashion.
make sense. So my fashion is, okay, well, I wanted to build a collection that it becomes valuable. I enjoy driving it, but then also eventually going to buy new cars, and I want them to respect what I'm doing. You know, I want to be good. So I wanted to, and there's so many people with money, so many things. Well, how can I get their attention? Well, I figure a person that only collects Ferrari, only drives Ferraris, and drives it 24/7, that would be somebody that's
Of course,
hardcore,
right,
you know?
right.
Because a lot of collectors, they like to collect whatever they want. So
sporadically.
So, yeah.
You
and so
have a big
so
order to it.
So I have a strategy, like how I collect it in a theme. So I think in Ferrari, I understand they like that because believe it or not, there's not a lot of kind of people like me around. Even today, not a lot, you know.
Well, you have the entire Big Five here, which we were talking about a little bit earlier, and now with your yellow collection, you're trying to work on getting the Big Five again.
Yeah, so I have it all in red, the Big Five. I have 4 of the 5 in yellow. I just have the LaFerrari in yellow that I'm still looking for the right one to buy.
Yeah.
But getting one in the 288, which is, as I know, there's probably only 3 in existence, so I have one of them. But I have F40, which is in the shop right now, getting done, but Enzo and 50. So I am close to completing a Big Five in yellow, and I don't think, as I know, and I know a lot of collectors, nobody has 2 collection. and I have it red and yellow. So that's kind of cool. But then I have the classics and I have the new and everything.
Absolutely. There's definitely a fantastic diversity of older cars, newer cars, kind of somewhere in between.
Yeah.
I think last but not least, we'll talk a little bit about Mr.
car?
Schumacher's car.
Okay, sure, yes.
Now, we heard that Fernando Alonso's F1 car was offered to you.
Yes, yes.
It was not taken, but you do have Michael Schumacher's F1 car.
Yes. It's very interesting. You know, my dealer said, hey, the fact you want to, you know, we appreciate what you do. And you know, for Ferrari, these cars are the most important cars to them. You know, road cars are just cool, you know, but to show the pinnacle of performance is an F1 car.
Absolutely.
And so to them, it's very valuable. And to have somebody to be the steward of that car, they have to really feel that they trust that person. That person got to represent well the company. So anyways, at that time, they offered me a F1 car, but it was Alonso's car. And with no disrespect, I like him, but I just said, hey, I'm gonna pass. It's not fair. Then a few months later, they came back, hey, you know what? Would you be interested in a Michael Schumacher world-winning car, championship-winning car? Of course, that one for sure.
I'm writing the check out right now.
Yeah. So they had offered me that, and it was offered by Maranello. You know, Maranello chose me and had my dealer offer it to me. So it's very, like I said, I know the factory directly, so it's one of those situations that you would be able to buy it.
For the last 10 years, you've really worked on becoming the most extraordinary Ferrari collector. Where do you sit with them now? Is every car that comes in, do you get a phone call from your dealer that asking if you want to buy it?
I think everybody knows I made the effort, you know, and still people have some old news. Oh, is he banned or not? I'm not banned, you know, obviously.
Right.
I would say as a top client, and right now in the world, I think it's $499, so-called top client on the CRM.
Okay.
And then there's a level, a kind of undisclosed level above that, because there's some cars obviously less than $499.
Sure.
How do those people get picked, right?
Right.
But I would say I would get all the cars first. You know, and even like a limited edition, the 812 competition, to get the first one have been for many months that nobody had any more cars came in.
Right.
That is, for that level of limited edition, to get that first is really incredible.
You have to be in a special spot with Ferrari.
Yeah, to get the regular production cars first, like is very incredible. I mean, like the Parasangway I should be getting next week, which
very
is
cool.
First of the Parasangways.
The first of the Ferrari SUVs too.
Yeah. So it's the first, you know, and then of course, like let's say the limited edition like SP3s. SP3 in itself is very limited.
Absolutely.
But then within that, I'm getting the exposed carbon version of it, which is only like 30 maybe, I think. Wow. So there's, you know, so I think, am I good with them? I think I've earned my dues.
Absolutely.
I paid my dues.
Absolutely.
And I think it's my time to reap the kind of the rewards of being a Ferrari, a devoted and loyal Ferrari collector.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Well, David, thank you so much for showing us
Thanks
around.
for coming.
We'll definitely have to come back for that that Monza SP3.
Oh yeah, the Monza SP3 is cool. I got the Roma Spider coming. I have the SF90XX with also a special carbon fiber. That's also a separate thing. Got the rigger and
some exciting stuff coming.
A lot of exciting stuff.